In this video, I'm going to discuss how Islam is the moon cult and how the different factions have to do with the male and female deity. So first, I would like to draw to your attention that the 9th month of the calendar is Ramadan, and it has to do with the 12 months of the year, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 disciples, etc. So, and of course, you know, all those famous historians and secret society guys pointed it out, Josephus, Copernicus. Anyway, so we go on to talk about the dispute that happened over Fatimah, with Abu Bakr promising the land. Excuse me, Muhammad promising the land to Fatimah, and Abu Bakr, a rich merchant who was Muhammad's father-in-law. So we have somebody who's not related to Muhammad arguing with his daughter, okay? And what proceeds to play out at that point is something rather disturbing. Is that you know, all the way from Ibrahim and Musa, who they call Moses, and Isa, who they call Jesus, all the way down to Muhammad. They believe the prophets go way back, right? And there's 5 pillars, so, you know, pray 5 times a day. There's certain numbers that are significant. Now, it's important to notice that the argument surrounds several symbolic things. One is the fire, okay? They were trying to set fire to the house of the female, which is symbolic of the male struggling with the female deity in the sky. Okay, like in the Bible, the heavens declare the glory of God, etc. in Psalms. So, why this divine struggle is playing out, it's also playing out in the story between the overzealous male figure, who is Abu Bakr, this merchant. He goes around, he's forcing his weight, he's throwing his weight around, he's getting his way, he gets Medina to unite under him, he challenges Ali, and he wins. The Sunni follow him. Who are the Sunnis? Saudi Arabia, Gaddafi. Of course, you have Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein. Who are the Shiites? The Shia. Well, Iran, of course. Now think about it. You had in Iraq the majority of Shia being oppressed by the Sunni minority, and next door you have the Shiites in Iran. So think about the vested interest and cleaning house. If you're cleaning house in your overall religion, you're going after the other factions. Like in Europe, when the Irish, they go on the street, one of them wears green, one of them wears blue. What is it about? It's about the churches. Remember, all the different churches, the Anglican Church, the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, Evangelical, Jehovah's Witness, on and on. You have to understand that all these people are competing for your prayers, your donations, your money, for power. So, who are Ali, Hassan, Hussein, Ani Zainul Abidin, Mod al-Bakr, Jafar al-Sadiq? Okay, who are we talking about here? We're talking about the line that goes back to Abdul Muttalib all the way down, and it ends over here after Bora. Okay? Well, basically it ends with Bora. So, and it talks about the different imams, and it talks about Moses, Musa, etc. Okay? So, as you go down to this part of the thing, this part of the family tree, the descendants, where the power was passed down to, it's quite clear that Islamic law was being, they were arguing about it from the start, just like the disciples were arguing about the story of Jesus from the start, and that it's more complicated than you think. Obviously, there's different, American Muslims don't like the fanatical Muslims. There's different factions of it. But when you're talking about the Islamic expansion into Africa, and you want to say who's doing it? Are the Sunnis doing it? Are the Shiites doing it? The answer is both. In the places where you have a Sunni concentration, the royal family of Saudi Arabia, Gaddafi, and all them are helping them out. Okay, those places would include. And who do you think were fighting against Gaddafi? Obviously, it was a lot of these Shiite fucking militias. Okay, and what was Gaddafi? Who's his allies? The Tuaregs. And the Tuaregs, what are they doing? They're fighting over there in Mali. They're fighting in Niger. Okay? Understand how the map is split up. And who is on whose side and why. And how it has to do with symbolism, including Abu Bakr's name being written in calligraphy is another Muslim symbol. The crescent moon. The moon god. Yah. Okay? Yahweh. Allah. Okay? From the ancient Arabic origins of Islam and the deities they had in Medina already. You see, Muhammad didn't just come up with this idea himself. He first questioned what he had seen. He went back to the village. He started discussing with people what it meant and what was going on. It has to do with ancient Egypt. Where did the families go? You have the two different families. Someone went to Ethiopia, some went to Somalia, some went to Saudi Arabia. Okay? So you had a unilateral invasion, a unilateral effort. This is quite categorical. This is categorical Islam. Textbook. Now, understand that this is not just what I'm telling you is going on, but is it exactly what you would expect? Exactly. I wouldn't expect anything less. If I didn't even know what's going on, I would guess this is what's going on just by the description of the people who are running the show. America sided with Saudi Arabia, yet we were fighting against Saddam Hussein. Why? Because it has to do with the vested interest of the elite, the oil companies, the metallurgical industries, how mafia guys own most of it, big industries. Now, I talked about listen. I told you about the 5 top Russian billionaires in my last couple videos back, okay? I told you about the guy who's running for president against Putin. And why? Because he wants more direct access to what is going on and what matters. It goes down like this. The big guys sitting at the table, like Swarovski. Okay, they're sitting at this table, and they're sitting at the table with Rothschild and Rockefeller. They're sitting at the table with the fucking DuPonts. They are sitting at the table with the descendants of the Assad. They are sitting at the table. And their table determines the policy of the tables below them. Whether you are talking about the CFR, the Round Table think tanks, whether you are talking about the Knights of Malta or the Catholic Church, the table of the Illuminati passes on its agenda to the employees of the secret society lodges below them, and if they do not carry them out accordingly and guide them accordingly, they are replaced. They are pushing their pipeline in the form of people. The people are the individual attachments of the pipes. And when one of them is leaking and their agenda is not flowing smoothly, they replace them with a new pipe attachment. It is not just their oil pipeline, but their Masonic structure, which is built on the temples of man. And where does the policy come from? Who were the people pushing the policy? The Greco bankers who controlled the mercenaries. The Arab banker Abu Bakr, who controlled the Islamic thought of the Sunni Muslims, who become very influential. Saudi Arabia, very influential. Gaddafi was very influential. Saddam Hussein, very influential. And who controlled who influenced the thought of the Masonic lodges? The women. Now, who is Set? Set is Set plus An. It is Abu Bakr plus Fatimah. Now, hold that thought. You have the Temple of An, the Grand Priestess of the Temple of An. How does the Grand Priestess of the Temple of An tie in to Greco-Roman cults? Like the cult of Diana, the cult of Diana, the cult of Demeter, the Hellenistic cults. How does it tie in to the sarcophagus and the rituals that come from Egypt? And Alexander the Great, around 350 BCE, 330 BCE. Now, where does Alexander the Great start? He was Aristotle's pupil. And who was Aristotle's master? Plato. And who was Plato's uncle? Solon. And who was Solon talking to? Socrates, Plato's teacher. And what came before that? The Iliad, the Odyssey, Homer, the Olympic Games. And what was going on during that time? The 25th dynasty had taken over. Which means that the the Delta region in Egypt, which connects to Israel, Isis, Ra, and El, was being guided by the 25th dynasty for 300 years. And it wasn't until the 25th dynasty fell, it wasn't until the Babylonians invaded that the knowledge was lost and the temple was lost, and they had to rebuild the temple in 515 BCE. And then what happened? The Greeks occupied, the Romans occupied, the Greco-Roman period, and they give you the Apocrypha. Then the Old Testament is finalized in 70 BCE. So how did the Old Testament come to be? It was guided by the Nubian thought, which created the first sun temples of Egypt, which were taken into the Middle East by the Hyksos, who worshipped Set, who set up the moon temples. So when the Jews were kicked out, and they were kicked out when Moses worked for the sun temple, they bumped heads with their cousins from the moon temple. Now, who was Ishmael? Who was Ishmael? Ishmael was the son of Hagar. So Ishmael was during the time of Abraham, which was during the time of the Hyksos. So after Abraham, the Jews are in Egypt under the Hyksos, who are the moon temple, who take it to the the moon temple, who take it to the Middle East and set up the foundations of Islam, and they are later met by the priests of their Hyksos brothers in 1200 BCE, those who remained behind as slaves and joined the sun temple of the Amenhotep, of Tutmosis, of Akhenaten, the sun gods. So Akhenaten goes to Amana, the sun gods go to Israel, Isis, Ra, and the Canaanite god El. They have a clash, they clash, they clash. You can't beat them, join them. We get Isis, Ra, you get El, we'll put it together. This is our home. That's what happened. End of story.